Yes, my question's for Karan. I just wanted to ask, towards the end of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, they turn the Rangers into little kids, and so to bring in the Alien Rangers, which I thought was kind of, dull, but I digress. So,
a little shaky.
What was going on behind the scenes? I'm just curious. When they turned all the actors into kids, what were like you guys doing?
We actually got a little bit of a break. That was one of the times we got, we had like a week off. I actually went and auditioned and got a part on Hanging with Mr. Cooper and was able to do that episode. I kind of snuck it in there, and I remember coming back and they were like, "What? How'd you do it?" And I was like, "It just all turned out perfectly. I don't know how I did it." So I actually went off and worked on another show, but I was also in the midst of all that. That's when my talks were starting, as far as my I knew that there was another movie that was going to happen, and they were paying us. They offered us less than what we had gotten on the first movie, which I was kind of like, wait, the first movie was a hit. How are we getting less money? And they were just, there were just things like every time we turned around, it was like they would pull the rug out from under us. And I just remember hearing producers say, they would get upset with like 20th Century Fox, like, you can't send them cars and you can't send them limos to get to the set. And we were like, but we don't know where we're going, or we don't know what we're doing, so that's why I would send you a car, so that you'd be there on time, and you would, they would just want to ensure that you were taken care of. And they were like, we don't want you guys to treat them that way, because then they're going to want more money from us. So it was just a bunch of craziness happening, and I just basically had said, I would like, my contract to be different. So we tried to talk about it, we tried to figure it out, and from what I understood, we had figured it out, and I was going to do 10 more episodes, and they were going to gracefully write my character out. Next thing I know, I was a little kid, and I never came back. I was going to Africa. So it was what it was, but I was so happy that I had done what I'd done, and I met, the people that I'd met in the family, and just being a part of the legacy of Power Rangers. I was happy to have done it. And I felt when I got that role on Hanging with Mr. Cooper that, all is not lost. I can audition for other things. Like, I'm an actress, and thank you, Power Rangers, for opening that door officially for me. So, there it was.
Excellent. I want to let you guys know about a couple of things, and Austin, first it's about you. In 2004, ABC Family ran a contest, and they named Austin the greatest Red Ranger of all time. In 2007, Toon Disney ran another contest, Red Ranger contest, and named you the most popular Red Ranger of all time. This is not the Oscars, but that's still something pretty good right there. Your feelings about that?
I'm blown away. I had no idea. That's awesome.
And then, another little piece of information. This is personal experience. In 1992, I saw a movie and actually bought the soundtrack because it was quite good. The soundtrack to Mo Money. And on there was a track by a group called Crush. Do you know anything about that, Karan? Or can you tell us anything about that?
I do. I was a member of Crush, and
good song, by the way. Great song.
Thank you. I got a platinum album, and my mom has a platinum album hanging on her wall because of that. So that was my first intro to the biz. So yeah,
awesome.
It's amazing. Thank you.
And then David, your career has gone through some voice acting as well, but obviously you're also writing, a lot of writing as well. And I just found out about a short novella that you had already written, and I want you to tell us about it, because I'm curious about the title. I love the title.
Sure. I published a short novella through Cool Beans publishing entity called Buddy Holly and the Cold, Cold Ground, and it's a paranormal ghost story about a man who goes back to an old house in New Orleans to try to rescue the body of an ex-girlfriend that's being looked over by some evil entity. Buddy Holly figures into it because the main character is told a story about how Buddy Holly faced his own evil entity at the moment of his death. And it's all fictionalized, of course, but it was a lot of fun to write, a lot of fun to explore the characters and the stories, and it was a real kick in the pants to finally get it published. So yeah, it was great.
Is that the genre that you want to continue writing, or is there? I mean, what do you like to continue?
Well, I just learned before coming down here that 2 other short stories that I've written are going to be published in later in the year. I had a werewolf story that was published last year, and hopefully sometime later this summer, the superhero novel that I wrote will get published. So,
awesome. We wish you the best of luck with that. We have time for one more question, folks. One more question. We got one over here. There we go. I don't have to walk so much.
My question is for anyone who wants to answer. I know the characters I played up both in Skull were on the show for quite some time from the beginning, then go to later episodes. And I was just wondering, how was it working with those guys?
Luckily, I did get to meet Jason and Paul because they would come into the voice studio because they were very talented and also provided other voices for other monsters on the show. And I think I remember one session where all 3 of us were in there, and that's where we came up with the sound for the putties and the whole. But they were great. Such a wonderful team together, and they contributed such a great aspect to the show. I thought we're going to see them in Lexington, so they're fantastic.
Amazing. Those guys, I love those guys. And it's funny because now that we're doing the convention circuit, for some odd reason, they always get put right next to me. And it's like, I get like the biggest entertainment. They have these things, like they're destructive, those 2. Like every year, Lexington, I don't know why, we did Lexington one year, and randomly, there was a leather like love seat, and it was in their booth. Like, I don't know where this love seat came from, but for some reason, they put this random love seat in their booth. By the end of that convention, which it was only like a 3-day convention, that love seat was like ripped to shreds. You saw part of it was like, you know, torn up, and in the corner, they were throwing, you know, fans were wearing the puff stuff that's like, you know, the cotton that's inside. They were giving people rides across the convention floor on the love seat. Like the things that happened on that love seat, I can't even tell you. It was just, people were, like the fan photos were awesome. But those guys are amazing. Like what people don't know about them is that they're immensely talented. Like Jason Narby, we call him Dr. Narby because he has his master's in theater. And he has his PhD in theater, and he actually teaches at a university in Chicago. Like, he's amazing. He actually, a project I was working on, worked with me. I was like, will you be my acting coach? And he, you know, and then when we came on the show, it was funny, but they put Polly as our acting coach, just to kind of take us on the set. You know, this is where you stand, and they're gonna put a piece of tape on the floor, you gotta hit your mark. So he was kind of there the first week or 2 just as moral support for the three new guys. And he was our acting coach also. He'd run lines with us. So these guys are so talented. Like, I told them one day I'm gonna write a project and we'll all come back and do something that's different from Power Rangers, and you 2 will be the bad guys. And they were like, hell yeah! Like, they were so excited.
Yeah, Paulie and Jason, man, they're amazing. We had so much fun. They weren't just comedy relief for you guys in front of the camera, they were comedy relief for us behind the camera. So I cannot tell you how many jokes and pranks and crazy things went on, and I finally got to see them again recently. And we just reminisced, and then we went out and had a drink or 2, and found some more comedy relief. Quite a lot. In fact, that night I think somebody's tooth got chipped. I'm not going to say whose. So somewhere in the Power Ranger world, somebody got a chipped tooth, or a tooth chipped that night. I'll let you guys investigate.
Guys, as we finish up our time together with them, and we've had a lot of fun, obviously, can you guys give us a final word, just to kind of, for the fans, obviously, any final word?
Mine's really simple. I left the business, I went into emergency medicine, I did things people told me I couldn't do. The world is full of people that will tell you no. Don't be one of them. Don't tell yourself no. Don't be one of those people.
Yeah, I piggyback that. That's amazing advice because, you know, a lot of people as actors, We get told no a million more times. I've probably been told no 1,000 times. But the few times that I was told yes have changed my life. Like he brought up, before I was even an actress, I was a singer. You know, I was 12 years old, and ever since I could walk, I used to tell my mom, I want to be a dancer, singer, actress, model, choreographer, producer. And she was like, what? And so I grew up in Odessa, Texas, and I mean, I didn't know anybody in the business. I moved to Dallas. I heard about an audition in a newspaper, you know, and I went and I got in this group. And, you know, a year later, I had a major record deal with A&M Records, and we did the Mo Money soundtrack. And then that group ended. Like, I was literally signed on A&M. I was working with the biggest producers at the time, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, and we got dropped from the label. A&M dropped us, and I was devastated. Literally 2 months later, there was another ad in the newspaper, and I went to an open call audition where there were 10,000 people in Dallas, and who knows how many other people in the other 5 cities they had, you know, went to. I stood in line all day long. 4 days later, I was a Power Ranger. So I mean, it's like, that's what I always say, like, it's like it's not like I was destined. I think that it was just, you know, I had a faith in God, I had a faith in myself, and when time came, I was like, I'm getting that part. Like, I'm gonna do whatever I can. And I just tell people all the time, you know, are gonna be told no way more than what you'll ever be told yes. But the couple times you get the yes, it can change your life. So be ready, go for it, why not?
Just to go back and touch on something we spoke to earlier about no hate, I think one of the biggest things that I take away from the show and from being a part of it is that words can hurt, but words can also build you up, and we're all connected in some way or another, and you'll never know whose lives you're going to touch. So just be aware, be mindful, and just take that one moment to say something nice to somebody that could change their day, could change their life. And that will spread, that will continue to ripple outward. And we're still seeing it today. That's why we're sitting here, because of you guys, because you were touched, and it's touched you, and it's going to touch somebody else, and it's just going to keep going forward. And that's what I think, why we're here and what it's all about.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Karan and Austin. This is the Power Ranger panel, folks. Thank you so much. We're going back to our
booth, so we will see you in the main. So we want to meet all of you, so please go back to our booth. We want to meet you. We want to get to know you and want to say goodbye before we leave today. So please, we'll see you in a second.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great day.